Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for all the attendees for taking out the time out of your busy schedules to join us today. We know this time of the year things are packed and people have different priorities, but it really means a lot that you spend this time with us. I'm Pallavi from the business development team at Royal Cyber, and I'll be walking you through the first part of today's session. Before we dive into Microsoft Fabric and data agents, let me give you a quick snapshot of who we are. Royal Cyber is a global IT consulting and digital transformations company. We operate across 10 plus countries with over 2,500 employees and 500 plus certified consultants. Our focus area includes services, solutions, and software that help enterprises modernize and innovate. We've been recognized globally for our work and have strong partnerships with leading technologies like Microsoft, IBM, AWS, and more. On the next slide, you'll see all of our clientele that spans multiple industries, from healthcare, retail, manufacturing, banking and finance, education, and emerging sectors. We work with organizations across the globe, including the Middle East, North America, Europe, and Asia Pacific. A few logos that might stand out to you might be Capital One, L'Oreal. From the education sector, we've worked with University of Chicago, and there's a lot more. On the next slide, you can see some of our technology partners that we partner with to deliver top solutions in automation, DevOps, cloud, enterprise modernization, and data. These partnerships allow us to bring best-in-class solutions to our clients. Some of our key partners include Microsoft, IBM, AWS, Oracle, Adobe, ServiceNow, and there's a lot more. On the next slide, you can see a broad picture of all of our services and our focus areas. From digital commerce to generative AI, we work on a multitude of projects, all customized to our clients' needs to best support them and empower them. With every engagement is tailored, whether it's enabling omni-channel experiences, building intelligent automation workflows, or modernizing legacy data systems for real-time insights. Our goal is simple: to help organizations stay competitive, future-ready, and maximize ROI through technology. On the next slide, you can see our focus on data and AI offerings. The three different segments are generative AI, advanced analytics, automation and optimization, and data modernization. This is where Microsoft Fabric also comes in, providing a unified platform for data analytics, enabling organizations to accelerate insights and AI adoption. On the next slide, we are proud to also be a Microsoft Gold partner with deep competencies across Azure, Power BI, Dynamics 365, and now Microsoft Fabric. We've collaborated with Microsoft to deliver Fabric workshops that help organize, understand that platform, build adoption roadmaps, and implement best practices. We're also proud to be a Microsoft Gold partner. Our certified practice includes 40 plus consultants specializing in data, solutions, and Fabric. We were also present at Microsoft Ignite this year. It was an incredible experience for us. That is all on my end. Thank you, Sitting, for this part of the session. I'll be handing it over to Shikhar. Thank you.
But yeah, so we are living in a moment where data is growing faster than organizations can consume it, and AI is advancing even faster. Every department is generating more information than ever before, yet the ability to turn that data into timely decisions hasn't kept pace. AI has incredible potential, but without clean, governed, contextual data, it can deliver the reliable results. That's why enterprise now needs systems like Fabric to understand their data, to apply the business rules, enforce security, and provide instant, trustworthy insights. This is where data agents and Microsoft Fabric come in. Fabric unifies all your data into a single governed foundation, and data agent sits on top of it. Together, they transform the enterprise from a world of manual reports and SQL tickets to real-time, AI-driven development. We can do a lot with Microsoft Fabric. It basically unifies all your operations into an intelligent platform where you get features like data pipelines, real-time data intelligence, and newly introduced Fabric IQ, which gives you a set of AI tools from which you can integrate your data and you can talk to it with other agents using AI Foundry. You can also work on graphs, digital twins, building your ontologies, which basically creates a semantic understanding of your data to the LLMs. From this point forward, we dive into why data agents are becoming essential. enterprise have massive amounts of data, distributed data, but none of it is AI ready. Data agents turn that fragmented data into governed, queryable, and intelligent knowledge that copilots and AI applications can trust. They enforce accuracy, security, and compliance automatically. And once built, a single agent can power Fabric, Teams, Copilot, Foundry, and more. And this is something that we're going to see today in live action. This gets to the question that what are data agents? A data agent is essentially your enterprise knowledge engine. It understands your schema, your governance rules, and your security boundaries. Instead of interacting with tables, joins, or pipelines, users can simply ask the agent and it retrieves the governed answers. It is not a basic chatbot. It's structured, it's context-aware intelligence, layered, grounded in your enterprise data. Now this brings me to the question, where can you use these agents? You can see the end-to-end life cycle of how you can create an agent, connecting it with sources, defining the permissions, and once published, this agent is accessible everywhere. You could use it within Fabric, Teams, Copilot, AI Foundry, and soon coming is the REST APIs. So it can actually expose its REST APIs, so you can call it in any application that you want to work with. Where do we use these data agents? Here I have a sample flow, which is going to show you how these things work. So if you see this, you could simply ask a question like, show me the sales data. This sales data will then go to our web app, or it could be our AI Foundry app that is exposed outside. This query goes to our Foundry. Foundry in turn will be talking to the data agent that you'll be exposing in your Fabric. So data agent is part of Fabric, which is now exposed through Fabric to other AI Foundry agents and your users. This way, your agent is well aware of the context that is stored within Fabric. So you do not have to translate or create a semantic layer on top of any existing data that you have in your organization. What are the capabilities and integration possibilities? They're exactly what I said. And just to give you an understanding of how widely this has been adopted now, see that these are the organizations which are actually using Foundry tools. Foundry tools are set of tools that have data agents, AI Foundry agents, machine learning, IQ, and agent services. It also has models along with control plane, which gives you a very secured and tunable service where you can actually define all the governance, the checks that you want to have on your agents, and many such facilities. Most organizations today lack these contextual tools, but these are all part of the Microsoft AI Foundry. Your agents need trusted and contextual tools. So the context, workflows, and adaptability is all offered by a syndicate of these tools, which is also being exposed through the data agent that we're going to work with today. So here comes a small demo of data agents on what they are, how they're working, and where do we need it. So we're going to go through a few slides on looking at what's the utility of that. So these days, we do not have time to wait for the data. Imagine a scenario where there's a production issue on a weekend and you need the data to be out right away. Or you're going to your any day-to-day task and you're stuck somewhere. So you need the answer. So not the ideal process, the current process that goes in is you submit a ticket to the responsible team or the person. It goes to the staff that writes the query. Then comes the validation where you actually check the data accuracy. You refresh the server and finally you get the answer. This could not be multiple days, but in a big organization where the teams are not very lean, this could be the case. What we offer is the instant data analyst. So now you do not have to write any SQLs. There's no delay, there's no bottlenecks, and you do not have to find the correct person to even do this. You can simply go and write the prompts. So your prompts could be something like a simple question, like how many courses are we offering or how many students are enrolled. So let me just show you or take you guys to the demo. So here's the agent that I have exposed, and I'm going to show you the data sources that we're working with. So imagine a simple student database or a set of data sources where we're using the advising data, we're keeping the attendance data, and let's see the fields that we have here. So in the attendance, you have attendance ID, course ID, date, status, student ID. We have courses that has course name, credits, the department that it is associated with. We have enrollments for each student ID, which is corresponding to some course ID and the term that they took this in. Some financials based on the balance, the scholarship offered, the student ID, the transactional ID, and the tuition pay. And finally, we have the student's data, which gives you the personal information. When you're working in Fabric, this is the Fabric view where we can actually manipulate the agent. So here is a text box where you can simply prompt it. You can give your instructions, you can give your guardrails, you can have your checks in place so that it knows what to do and how to do it. And on the
So
next,
Shikhar, I have a question here. So the table you show me here, right? So these are all having like proper names, like a DOB or email or something. But what if my table doesn't have like the names properly, like address, like ADD1 or ADD2? Does it still understand it as an address field? Like how do you tackle that?
yes, so it still understands the complete data. It knows your data very well. It has the knowledge built in within the semantic model. So when we're exposing this data and we're working on the semantic gold layer, that's how it picks up that the data means something, what's the actual meaning of it. And moreover, with the prompting and the what do we say, the fetching that we do, it understands what the data actually means. And we'll be seeing this with a demo that I'll show you with a prompt. Let me show you guys how that works.
Yeah.
So let's first start with a prompt. How many courses do we offer?
So right now, when you put in this question, like it's talking to the table, it understands the database schema and everything and finds the right table for you.
Yes. So in order to show you with more transparency, I'm going to show you how it actually assesses this. So as soon as I ask my question, how many courses do we offer? If you see carefully, it says that there are currently 10 courses being offered. And it says the number of steps it took to take this decision. Now, if we look closely, it actually analyzed the student SQL database for the number of courses offered. So it created a query select count of all as number of courses from our courses table. And then there's the output. So this was a simple one, but this explains on how our agents go and work.
So if I understand correctly, Shikhar, I can go the other way as well, right? So if I have a set of tables, if I have to build a SQL for it, then I can just put in a question and it will build me the SQL and I can use the SQL in my application.
Definitely.
Okay. And can it also build like complex queries?
Yes, it can. So
okay.
Let me get to a little complex one. Now, this is something interesting if you guys see. If I'm not wrong, this should fail. And we'll see how does it fail and what can someone do in a situation like that. Okay, so now I'll tell you, yesterday when I was prompting to it, it did not understand how does a person qualify to be in the scholarships. So if we go look at the data, that's when we realize that the scholarship column is not defined. But if you look at the student data, and it's going to show you how it came to this conclusion. So if you look at this, it took the count of distinct students from scholarship student as count from the student names, and it joined the financials with the student ID, uh, the student table. So if we see this student table, it has a column called scholarship. So it made a join and it understood that this value should be greater than 0. That's when it gets the scholarship values. Yesterday, this was not explicitly mentioned and it was failing. But then I went and I put that, okay, the scholarship has to be greater than 0. And it understood and now it learned from it. Now, let me give you another query. The student details for the world history. Now, can you guess what is this world history? Even I don't know. Alex, can you guess that?
I have no idea what this world history is.
Exactly. But this agent, again, without me explicitly defining, it knows that world history is something from the courses. So what it did is it created a query which selects all the student details from students, and it joined our enrollments and the courses. Now look at the complexity. It's joining two tables just by a simple query which says what's associated with the world history. So it actually made a conjunction of all the three tables, and look at the inner join. It very well knows that it doesn't need to have a cross join or an outer join to complicate the results. So understanding on which columns are to be joined, which tables are to be joined to get the desired result, it's very intelligent to figure that out. And finally, if you see the query output, we just have one student. So I associated each student to each course. So the result is correct. And look at the way it is actually summarizing and giving you in the note form. Again, if you look at this, I have not created any special instructions. This is the agent instruction that we see. This is the by default one, but I can be very picky, very peculiar, and very specific what kind of output do I want. So if I suggested that, okay, never expose phone number, it won't give it on your agents. Moreover, there's something that is pretty interesting. So imagine that in a case, I don't want to expose the details of my advisors. Now, in a situation like that, I can simply uncheck this table. Now, this won't be part of the data sources. So if I go and ask the agent, get the advisors. Let's just look at what it responds. It says that I could not find data about advisors in the available database. It appears there is no information on advisors. Actually, blocking and limiting your knowledge sources is as easy as this. This comes in very handy when you want to have multiple agents in multiple organizations and multiple user roles, right? So if I have an agent which is just for students, I would not put details like advising or scholarship in that. I would just expose courses and enrollments. But let's say if I want to do it someday, how difficult should that be? Just to check again. So let's put the same prompt, get the advisors.
So any change you make on these tables or permissions or instructions, it gets reflected immediately.
It's right away.
So you
That's
don't have to deploy or anything for this. So it's right there
not
for
really.
you.
So when I'm in this agent builder, that's where I don't need to deploy it. But if let's say I'm publishing it and using it with Foundry, which we're going to see, then I need to make the changes and click on publish. As soon as you click on publish, it will ask you whether you want to expose this to the agent store in your M365 Copilot. And if you want to do it, you can simply publish that. Once you publish your bot, yeah.
So if you
Go ahead.
expose that to like M365 Copilot, so the default Copilot that comes with the Windows, like which has this M365 Copilot, I should be able to use this agent from that Copilot.
Yes, Alex. And
Okay.
if you guys are smart enough to orchestrate it within AI Foundry, which I'll show you here, so this would act as a tool. Now, if a question goes to your student database, this data agent webinar from AI Foundry is actually gonna route this as a tool called to Fabric Data Agent. And the query would go in turn to your data agent within the Fabric. Isn't this wonderful? So the latest, this was made available with the latest announcements in the Ignite, where you can now use the Fabric IQ as part of your IQ within Foundry, which is Foundry IQ. So Foundry IQ acts as your intelligence for all your data within your Microsoft suite of tools. So let's say if you want to ask the same question again, uh, give me the advisors. Now look
So
at how this thing is working. Yeah. Yes,
so
Alex.
here, like the Fabric data agent is acting as a knowledge source for your the agent you build from the AI Foundry.
Correct. With
Okay,
this, I can add multiple knowledge sources. I
right.
can connect it to Foundry IQ. I could set up data source via tools. I can add another thing like Azure AI search. I can have a web search. I could have code interpreters with my agent, which is in Foundry. And just to show you guys how well we have planned it, Microsoft, it gives you the model that you're using. You can tweak with it here. You can choose from a set of models and you can have more models as per allowed by the admin. You also have the time that is for you to debug your responses. If you see, it took 2.8 seconds, which is like super. It gives you the tokens, the input and the output generated. It gives you the AI quality. It gives you a debug option on seeing that how that tool call was made, what were the responses, what was the metadata, what evaluation did we do. So these kind of tools and the way that data scientists work with such agents has been made much easier than before. So it saves you a lot of time where you're actually debugging your orchestration, you're debugging how this works. And you can simply save this and publish this from your Copilot. You could, if you see this, you can directly publish it to your Teams and Microsoft 365 Copilot. You can also expose this as your REST API, which could be contacted from the other applications that you're working with.
And suppose if you have to set any guardrails for this agent, so can I just go back to that Fabric and like give a set of prompts like how this agent should behave?
Yes, Alex. So the agent instructions is where you would put something like that. So you can simply go and put your rules, how you want to plan the approach, how you want to have your guardrails. So if you say something like, do not expose the phone numbers, it's gonna obey and honor that instruction. You can also work with multiple versions of your agents. So it gives you a capability to get to the last published version or how you want to work with it. Agent instructions are available from here. You could also put this on the side if you don't want to interact with it. And that's how you work with the agents within your Fabric. It also has access to multiple data sources. If you see, um, if I click
That was
on
my
data
that
sources,
was my next question. Like, is there any limitation for the number of data sources that it can connect to? Like, how does it connect to a data source?
not really. So you can have any data sources that is part of your Fabric for data agents within Fabric. So you could pick a simple semantic model that you have exposed. You could choose it from your tenant wise. So org-wide, any kind of workspace that you're using for finances, for HR, you can have all of that within one lake. So we're looking into one lake catalog, which holds all the data for your organization. Hence you see everything that has been exposed here, and you simply connect with it. So it acts as your knowledge base for this data agent. So
So you can pull in your raw data, create a bronze layer, then do any transformation or anything or massage anything that is needed for the data. You can build a gold layer, and then like you can have your data agents talk to this gold layer data, and you can expose that to the AI Foundry.
correct. So that's the flow that we saw in our use case.
Okay.
Just to go through few more slides, and then we'll have the Q&A session.
So now when you expose this data agent to the AI Foundry, like an orchestrator agent within the AI Foundry can have this also as like a knowledge source,
Yes,
right?
Alex.
Okay.
Yes. So the way it integrates or it talks is that your data agent is now acting as an agent on top of all your Fabric data. So this agent is working in a multi-agentic fashion. So your AI Foundry agent is going to talk to this Fabric data agent and get all the work done. So it is separating your concerns. It is separating your governance policies. Fabric itself is never going to expose data which would go to your Foundry. And even in Foundry, you have much wider controls where you can actually keep a check on PII, PHI, and many such checks that you want to keep in place, including, let's say, some unsolicited keywords or something like that. You can have complete control on your responses. So this comes in very handy when every minute counts. And if you see, the question that I've kept here is saying how many students have scholarships greater than 0. This is exactly showcasing how it was not working before, but it learned what scholarships mean. This is a use case where finance actually cannot wait 24 hours. Let's say there's a situation where you want to reach out to your students who have not paid the fees for this semester. In that case, you have to first wait for your data team to get to the data, get you the response, then you validate, because you don't want to, go and say someone that you didn't pay for something even when they did. So these are some urgent use cases where you cannot wait for a very long time, and this comes in very handy. With this, we come to the recap of Ignite, and I would like to give this to Alex. Over to you.
Okay. So we were part of the Ignite 2025, and there were like some amazing announcements, and mostly were around like AI and how this agents are revolutionizing the way we work, we interact with the data and everything. One of the key announcements, like everyone must have noticed, was around like Anthropic model, the inclusion of Anthropic model within Microsoft, right? And the other ones being an Agent 365 platform where you can manage, govern all the data and everything that is going through an agent, and everything from within Microsoft Fabric. And not only that, agents that you build from Microsoft AI Foundry, but also where even if you're building an agent from anywhere outside of Microsoft as well, like if you are using A2A protocol or anywhere, you can still manage those agents within Microsoft 365 platform, where they provide you a wrapper. You just like bind your agent within that wrapper, and you can manage that agent within Agent 365 platform. And there was introduction about work IQ. It learns more about the individual user teams, and it powers like personalized assistance to in Microsoft 365 application. And Fabric IQ we already spoke about. So it is like a semantic layer on top of all your data. Now before the Fabric IQ, you have to train your AI and on what the data is about and everything. Now Fabric IQ will actually understand the data and be ready for all your like AI related questions and everything. Right? And there was also like Foundry IQ. So we have like 3 IQs now: Work IQ, Fabric IQ, and Foundry IQ. So Foundry IQ is like it's a like knowledge layer. It enables a reliable retrieval for all your agents. And there are like 12 new AI agents across like all Microsoft 365 applications, and they are expecting around like 8 billion new AI agents within a year or so. Right? And all these AI agents are going to empower you, do your business in like more reliable way. The next one, Shikhar. So this is more again about enterprise AI foundation, security infrastructure, and innovation. So organizations will be operating with AI first workflows, internally before deploying them to the actual customers. So there is also a strong emphasis on partners building like a lot of AI agents and integrating them to their vertical solutions. And the AI Foundry within Microsoft helps you to develop, build, test, deploy, and you can also scale agents. And also, like, not only that, you can manage any agents that is developed by default. Like, any agent that is developed within the AI Foundry can be managed within Agent 365. And also, not just limited to that, the agents that are developed outside of the Microsoft also can be like managed within the Agent 365. Next. Shikhar, next.
Yeah, my controls froze, it seems. Okay.
Yeah, so this is where we are currently helping most of the organizations. We help from like us early as like discovering what use cases will fit in the organization, like how we plan, like how we architect your data estate, and also like deploy a fabric within an organization. We connect to most of the data sources. Like, if you don't have like a predefined connector within fabric, we can also help build a connector. Maybe like your data is sitting in an on-prem or in a cloud. We bring in all the data within fabric, and you can have like fabric as your one lake, where you manage your entire data estate. And also with that, like, we also empower all organizations building like custom AI agents or copilot on top of your data. And not only that, once your data is in fabric, you also have access to purview that helps you govern your data, like who has access to what, right? So we help our customers set up everything with respect to data end to end, from pulling the data into the one lake, and setting up the pipelines and everything. And if there is any need for any AI, we also do that. And we also help govern the data, right? And not only that, we also help like scale the data. We lay down the architecture in such a way that the architecture is like scalable. Yeah, next. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to post that in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer the questions.
Thank you so much, Alex and Shikhar. I'm going to pull out a few questions from the chat box. One of the questions that we have is, where was the data model created and how were the relationships between the tables established? This was during the demo that you were showing, Shikhar.
Yeah. So the demo that we used, it actually was working simply on a lakehouse. But if you want to define your relationships on how your data is related to each other, you would do that in a semantic model, which could be exposed as a data source for your data agent within Fabric. So that's an ideal way of doing that.
We have another question. It says, how does your semantic model handle daily data refreshes?
Okay, so we have something called direct lake. So as soon as your data is updated within your lakehouse, it is readily available all the way to your reports. From this, it actually syncs your semantic model right away. It's almost near real time. So you do not have to actually put a refresh on it. But the way you design your pipelines in order to actually get the data within your lakehouse is the crucial point of this whole solution. So if you wanted something to be like near ready, already, like near real time, you need to have it through your pipelines. So it's the way you ingest your data rather than Fabric automatically taking care of it to expose it on your semantic model.
Awesome. One other question is, does the agent support lakehouse shortcuts such as accessing content stored in SharePoint?
Sorry, can you come again?
Does the agent support lakehouse shortcuts, so like content from your SharePoint?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
It does. So,
So
it
yeah,
can read. Yeah, it can read
ahead.
any data from SharePoint using like one lake shortcuts. Right? It can read that into the lakehouse or a warehouse. It can access the data, and once it becomes part of the semantic model, it should be able to answer any question that you ask from the data through the data agents.
even without that, you could expose the lakehouse or the warehouse also as data sources. But then the semantic understanding has to be developed.
Right.
So you would require more prompting.
I think you already spoke about this, but we can speak about this a little bit again. How is a data agent different from Copilot in Fabric?
So Fabric Copilot is conversational and it helps you, with the answers for your data. So basically you're talking to your data to get the insights. Whereas Copilot within Fabric, it is your assistant. An assistant actually gets multiple things. It gets multiple tools. It gets multiple knowledge sources. It gets multiple other configurations. But when we're talking about data agents specifically within your Fabric, and think of it as your voice for the data. So you're talking to your data and it responds. I hope that answers the question.
That did. Thank you so much, Shikhar. I think we're ready to conclude. We have one last question and then we can conclude. Does the model need to be trained on the database schema and underlying data? If it can, does it need to read? And then how do we handle the huge volume, real-time ingestion, billions of rows?
Okay, so no, we're not training our model on anything. It is kind of a RAG model. So we retrieve our data, we fetch the data, we process it, and we push it to our LLM models. If you see the steps that I was showing you, it analyzed on the tables where to actually fetch the data. It got the data and then it just summarized. So first, you do not have to train the model. What was the second part of the question, Pallavi? It's a three-part question. Okay, so I remember, but I just want to go through it. So the second
If
question.
it can read data, and then how do we handle the huge volume?
Okay, so handling the huge volume is taken care of by Fabric itself. Fabric is a data platform which actually enables you to create your pipelines. It also has real-time ingestion. It has real-time pipelines, real-time dashboarding. So all that works all in sync. And if you want to have your, your data agent on top of it, you can simply enable that data source, which will be working as knowledge base for your data agent. So I hope that answers your question. But a good question. Thank you very much for that. So
I think with this, we're ready to conclude the Q&A part of this session. Thank you so much, Shikhar and Alex. We do have a lot more questions coming up, but I think we can take them up towards the end, and we will be reaching out to follow up on those questions. Thank you so much for everyone to join today. Once again, thank you, Alex and Shikhar.
thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Feel free to ping me on LinkedIn for any question or connect that you want to have. Thank you again. Have a good day.